So it is with great pleasure that I welcome Mr. Jothi Raja as our guest for this evening. Mr. Jothi is an experienced and seasoned meditation teacher and speaker for almost 40 years. He is a mechanical engineer by profession, and he runs a business as well as a Raja Yoga Meditation Center in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. He is well loved for his humorous, light-heartedness, genuine and approachable nature, and also for the fact that he walks his talk. So Mr. Jothi credits the success of his business and ability to foster good relationships to his meditation practice and his commitment to applying spirituality in action. So welcome, Mr. Jothi. Thank you.
Thank you for
joining us
the
today.
generous comments. So it has been a very difficult subject that I've been asked to talk on. So it is very easy to give sorrow, but we don't have to make any effort to give sorrow because we have learned this art over a long, long time. But not to take sorrow is something that is new. It has always been the norm that if someone says something to you, you have to feel hurt. And so that is why there is this victim and oppressor situation. We live in a world of duality. So which means there will be the two extremes. Someone being extremely submissive and the other one being oppressive. Should we always be in this dilemma? Is there a way out? Is what we will explore today.
Great, Mr. Jothi. I was just thinking, most of us are very familiar with the meaning of not giving sorrow. And then there's this Confucius saying, don't do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. So can you just go explain to us a bit more about what it means to take sorrow? And why do we take sorrow?
Because I think we love it. We feel that because we love someone, whatever they may say, we have to take that out of love for them. So it could be a scenario in a family that because we don't want to lose the other partner, so no matter what they say, we take that and keep that sorrow within the self. We don't express that this is not how you should behave. So the other party feels that what they're doing is right. So they keep on thinking that what they are doing is out of love. And this side takes that sorrow, thinking that I'm doing it out of love. But there is a lot of suffering within that, isn't it? There is suffering on both sides. The one who is giving the sorrow is also suffering, and the one who is taking it also is suffering. And they don't seem to know a way out of this. So this is where spirituality comes in. So that art is something that humanity has to learn. So if I am feeling that I depend my life on someone, then no matter what that person does, I am going to take it. I'm not going to express the suffering that I am going through until a point comes that because of that suppressed suffering, some major illness can come in their life. And then there is the realization on both sides that I have given so much sorrow, and this is why this sickness has erupted. So we need to address this issue with wisdom.
Is it easy to notice? For example, you were saying, because we think we love someone, so we have to feel the loved one's sorrow in order to show love. But if we don't taking that sorrow or feel what they are feeling, would that not be kind of cold? Would that not be?
Yeah, it will sound cold, that you're not responding to what I am telling you. So the aggressor may get even more aggressive as a result of that.
Can you tell me a bit more about this? As what can we learn? How can we learn to identify it, and what can we do about it?
So as long as we are in the human consciousness, then we will not be able to get out of this. So we have to rise above being limited in the powers that we have. So by learning to master that inner power, then we will be able to put things right. So this is an art that we have to learn. So the first step to becoming a master of the self is to be able to listen, understand what the other party really wants of me, and without taking that sorrow, maybe what they want is some change in my life. So sometimes we take that sorrow, but we are stubborn on not wanting to bring that change. So the other party feels that they have not heard me. And so they become even more forceful in putting across their view. So there is always that give and take of sorrow. So we need to rise above being a victim and the other party being an oppressor. So it is a two-way issue. So the victim should not be silent. The victim also has to take courage to express what they feel. And so it requires courage on the part of the victim. And it also requires courage on the part of the oppressor to listen to what the other party has to say. So over a period of time, when there is this mutual, so first of all, I need to have a great deal of self-respect, a feeling of worthiness. Usually when I am in the victim mode, I have no self-respect and no feeling of worthiness. And that is why I put myself in that situation. So it is purely a lack of power within the self. On both sides, even the one who is giving the sorrow is also weak, and the one who is taking the sorrow is also weak.
Mr. Jothi, may I ask? There are sometimes circumstances where the other person may not be purposefully oppressing. They are just deciding to do what they feel is best, but not pleasing you, or they have their own reasons for doing what they want to do. But yet the other person can feel as if they weren't included, or I wasn't listened to. So what happens in that case? Sometimes I think it's not necessarily someone who wants to give sorrow. It may not be the case.
Yeah.
Can that happen as well?
Yeah. So two people have come together out of love, isn't it? But along the way, they are seeing weaknesses on both sides. And so they feel that these weaknesses have to be addressed. And because there is no sweetness in them, in expressing what they want the other party to become, the other party takes it as sorrow, because it is not said in the way that if it was said in a very polite, acceptable way, probably they would have accepted. But because of repeatedly saying, then the sweetness goes out and the roughness comes in. And even though the other party is taking sorrow, they also become stubborn in not wanting to bring a change in their lives. So these issues escalates until it becomes a crisis. So there are many underlying reasons why this give and take of sorrow takes place. Because sometimes an issue is not of just of this lifetime. Sometimes it is a carry forward of issues of past life. Two people come together. If in this life I've oppressed the other party, then in this life there will be a change of role and the other party will oppress you. And we do not know why. So becoming spiritual means understanding not only the past, present, future of this life, but even understanding the accounts that we have had with each other in the past as well. So that is why it is so essential that we become spiritual in this life, because we have an accumulation of karmic accounts with each other. So many things cannot be resolved by just understanding this one lifetime. The main reason why we take on sorrow is because of this accumulation of karmic debts. But also, all of us as souls have lost our spiritual power, the power of goodness. So there is a lot of negativity in us that we are not able to contain. And so they are being expressed, and this is what is giving sorrow to each other.
Do you have any personal experiences of how you go about not taking sorrow from a situation? Can you share something practical that you have experienced?
Yeah. So usually when we are in this spiritual movement, our task is to help people who are in these situations to come out. But in the process, whatever they have been doing to the victim itself, you become the person of target. So they will throw, because they have been so used to throwing, they have always wanted to hear only positive side of them. And when you are telling them that there are say changes that you need to make, then they can't accept that. And so they look for your weakness and shoot you down. So you need tremendous amount of power to understand that they are only throwing their rubbish. It's not that they are targeting you as such to be the victim. So on our part, we have to understand that whatever others are doing to you, actually, they are only throwing their defects out. And so I need to understand that it's just like when someone is sick and want to vomit, then because they do not, you become the basin in which to vomit. They know that you will not react. So one of the main things as someone helping to bring people out of their accounts is to be the receptacle, to be able to listen to them, understand them, and not to feel that they are personally attacking me. Mhm. So you have to have tremendous amount of spiritual power to be able to do this. So this is the art that we actually teach everyone, how to deal with these issues.
So it's something like not taking things personally,
Right.
having compassion for the other person.
Yes.
So it is in that sense, an act of love for the person as well, to have compassion and understanding what they're going through.
So why are people are not able to do this? They wish to have that love, but there isn't that love within themselves. Only if I am full of love, then I will accept everyone as they are, isn't it? So it is essential not just for the spiritual teachers to have this power of love, but everyone in the world needs to develop that power of love. So then I will be able to put right a relationship that is giving and taking of sorrow. So at this present time in the world, I think in every home, there is this give and take of sorrow. Only they may not, it may not be visible, but in an invisible way, there is a lot of give and take of sorrow.
So there is a question. So as a businessman, running a business, can you share a practical scene, how you would deal with a staff if you have received the complaint, and as a boss, you would have to deal with the staff, but do it without both of you taking sorrow? How would you deal with this situation in order to get this outcome?
Yeah. So, so always there's a big issue when it comes to setting things right. It's not an easy matter because there is always that fear that you may spoil the relationship. And even though they may have given a lot of cooperation, so when you bring up one issue that they are not doing something right, then relationship can sour. So particularly when we come into sound, the chances of things spoiling are very high. So even before you bring this issue, you have to think about it very deeply and profoundly, that this person has been responsible over a long period of time. Maybe there are other issues that have come that they have not been able to perform or be responsible at this point in time. So never to jump at just one issue and bring this up as an issue. So always it is very good to communicate at thought level.
That's how do you do that?
It is an art that you develop over a long period, because I found that every time I came into sound, that relationship soured. And then to repair, that takes a lot of energy. And that person also feels that how you as a boss can think of me like this.
So how have you done it through thought? And have you actually, through thought, change or be able to get the point across?
I have been. So very rarely would I give a letter saying that you have been not responsible. Sometimes I will get the letter written, but I would just not give it. It is like that I have taken action, and because I didn't give it, but I took action. So over a period of time, there are events that they will be more responsible, because if I did this at the time when I would need their assistance, they will be reluctant to give. So maintaining this relationship with each other is extremely important, that I do not take small issues as something big, unless it is truly big, unless they have done something to break the trust of the organization. Otherwise, I would not take minor issues as something major and spoil a relationship. There was one time my accounts girl had misappropriated nearly 30,000 worth of 30,000 ringgit. And many people told me that this girl is cheating. You better be on the watch. But she was so clever that I could not find it until one day she made some slip and I found. And then I said, this is criminal breach of trust and I have to report you to police. There is enough evidence that you have misappropriated this amount of funds. I've got all the documents and I have no choice but to go to the police. And then she said that if you do that, I'm a single mother and it will ruin this child's life. If I'm put in prison, then it would ruin. Then I thought about it, that she has been very responsible over a long period of time, because she has been with me. And then when she said this, I said, okay, then there is one thing that if you don't want me to go to the police, then there is one thing that you can do. I'm going to take another staff and you have to hand over this department, because accounts department means there is so many transactions with so many people, but at least you must transfer this to the new staff, because you have broken your trust on, you have broken your trust. So there is no way that I can keep you, but at least let this smooth transition take place. You stay till that period, then you can go. If possible, you can pay back whatever you have taken. But I know that it wouldn't come. But I just wanted not the company to be disrupted, nor do I want to jeopardize the life of this mother and daughter. So sometimes keeping a relationship is more important than even loss of money. So spirituality means that relationship is very important. And so the more you maintain relationship, you will find that they will serve you sometimes in the future. So a smooth transition took place, so I did not feel it was a big loss.
That's a good way to do it, and to see that it will come as a return, and they would be grateful for the way you handled their mistake.
Yeah.
There is a question here, a good question. The power of love brought me more sorrow. I love animals very much, and I feel sorrowful in the way many animals, particularly dogs, being tortured and dumped nowadays. The number of cases have risen tremendously, and I feel helpless to stop and help this. So how do I prevent sorrow in this situation?
There are certain events that are not in my control. I can't save all these animals that are being tortured, isn't it? There are people who will take these animals and at their own expense send them to the SPCA, or they create their own shelters to harbor these places, these animals. There is a limit to what I can do. So I have to be also practical that I can do as much as I can. Maybe I can report to the SPCA that these animals are being ill-treated, and hand over I can be responsible to that extent that I inform the authorities who can do something about it. But if I take this as a personal issue, then you will be burdened, isn't it?
But sometimes when we see the way things are going, how people are treating animals, or even, current situations of today, maybe political, economically, how should we view it? We do feel helpless sometimes, and we just get totally sometimes disgusted with what's going on.
So we have to be detached and loving. It's not that we have to put our heads into everything, and it should not give me sorrow. That's more important. If I can help in some way, I will render the help, but I should not take sorrow from this situation. I should not take law into my own hand to see that those who are causing this harm to animals are harmed. Then the law will come up after me, isn't it? So we live in a cruel world. So there is some things that we can do and some things we have to just let go. I should not allow that situation to cause me sorrow. So that's the meaning of not taking sorrow from a situation that I can't do anything about.
Yeah. So these are some forms of taking sorrow that was mentioned. Yeah, sometimes, when we watch people behave inappropriately, saying something untrue as well, it's hard not to get upset.
Yeah.
Is that something we can watch out for and do about this? What are the steps to free ourselves from taking in sorrow? Because there's plenty out there.
Yeah. So we are living in a very sorrowful world. So whilst living in this sorrowful world, there are things that we can proactively help. But in many situations, there is nothing much we can do except to have good wishes for the one who is causing this sorrow and hope that one day they would reform. Because we have to understand that there are karmic laws that governs the universe. So there is no necessity. I can take the law to a certain extent to see that this injustice is being put right, but I should not take sorrow. I should not take anything personal. So I should not feel responsible that I have to set this right at whatever cost. Whoever the authorities are that has to deal with this, I can convey the information to them, and then I have to put a full stop. If those authorities too did not take any proactive measures, then there's nothing I can do, isn't it? my pure wishes and good wishes for the one who is causing the sorrow will be very helpful. So if I work instead of at thought level to give that pure feelings and good wishes to the one who is causing this problem, probably it will work one day. One day there will be realization, because some suffering comes to the very person who has caused suffering to these animals or humans, then change will come.
How did you learn to practice this? And how long does it take to learn to practice this art?
So many years ago, before I came into this knowledge, when I was put in charge of a manager of an office, then I became over responsible. So I expected everyone to live up to certain standards. And in doing that, actually, I was giving sorrow. So one day, I noticed that whenever I enter the office, everybody would stop smiling. Then deep inside, I knew that it is about me. So I asked one of them who are very close to me, that I said, whenever I come, how come you all stop smiling? And the answer came, don't you know that you are the cause of our sorrow? It came like a thunderbolt. That what type of, how come I've asked such a question and see such a reply has come? Because I know at one time I wanted to sack one of my colleagues, and my boss said that I give you 1 week, do some soul searching and come.
That's a big comment to get.
Yeah. So at that time, I was not in this spiritual movement, and I was thinking, what type of boss is this soul searching? So after 1 week, then he asked me that. He asked me, "Have you thought about it?" I said yes. So if you ask this person to leave, you have given so much training, and just because you don't agree on some personal issues that you want this person to leave, do you think that the next person that you will bring in will be better than this person? You have lost so many hours by asking him to leave. You have to retrain someone new. And what guarantee is there that he will have a better personality than this one? So that was soul searching. And I said, yeah, I thought about it as well. And it is because we are not able to accept someone, or you want them to accept you totally, and they feel that it is not right, that this issue comes, which means that each one of us need to do some personal transformation, because we are living with human beings, just not machines, which means that we have to learn the art of accepting their goodness and their weakness, and to learn to coexist. So I knew that the only way for me is to go on a spiritual path and develop that inner power, so that I will be able to accept everyone as they are, and accept them for the goodness that they have, and use that goodness as a resource for building a company. So over the period of time, I found that being spiritual and developing your inner powers is what really helps in all situations. So instead of being reactive, you begin to respond to every situation and bring success. Success of a company or success of anything is that inner success of being able to work with everyone. That means I have to accept their strength and their weakness as well.
So it's like I develop the power to create success in relationships and my dealings with others.
So all these people who are coming in our lives are actually giving you that opportunity to master some power of skill that is lacking in you, that you are not able to bring them into your relationship. So rather than see that they are a cause of your sorrow, you begin to see them as opportunities. Yes, I recognize their weakness, but why not I develop the powers so that I am above that and help them and pull them out of their weakness. So this is a skill that when you come onto a spiritual path, you learn and master. So people may think that everyone is taking advantage of you, but not really true. It may look like that everyone who feels that you can say whatever you want to this person and they will not react. You're not reacting because you are responding to help them to come out of their own weaknesses.
There's a question here. Someone's saying, I'm quite sensitive to the vibrations of people, and even if I didn't want to, their vibrations of anger physically hurt me. It's like I can read their thoughts. How do I protect myself from other people's vibrations?
So you have to become spiritual, meaning that I need another force to surround me so that the negativity of others do not have an impact on my life. Because as a soul, as a spirit, we are all degenerated at this present time. So we are susceptible to the negativity of others impinging on us. So the only way to protect myself is to connect with a higher power. And if I learn meditation and connect with the Supreme, then a force field will create around me that I will no longer be influenced by their negativity, but I will be able to influence them through my positivity. So you will be a positive influence instead of they being a negative influence over me. Everyone in the world is now in that state of negativity. So it is not necessary for me to be a victim of all of them. I can take that proactive measure to empower myself so that I have a field of protection, an invisible field of protection. My thoughts, my words, my attitude creates a protection for me so that in the presence of their negativity, my positivity will have an influence to also change them.
So there's another question saying that when I see COVID cases rising, I get frightened. Is that taking sorrow? How to be free from this sorrow and uplift myself when I see the situation out there?
So if I allow fear to come in, then I am opening the chances for the virus to come into me, isn't it? First, fear will suppress my immune systems, which means these viruses are always around us. We don't know who is a carrier. So if I'm all the time going to be in a state of fear, then I have opened the doors for this virus to come in and make me a victim of the virus. So it is so essential for us to become spiritual at this time. Spiritual means that I am a spirit, a soul, and I am immortal. That means there is no death for me. It is only the body that I am living in is mortal, and so it can be subject to any kind of a virus attack. So if I am beyond fear, then this body's immune system will take care of everything. Of course, I will also need to take the necessary precautions of wearing face masks, whatever is the protocol I observe. But along with that, the real protection is my immune system. And that will only come when I have the awareness that I am a soul and I am immortal. Even if anything happens to this body, I will always get another new one. So in that way, I will preserve the life of this body. So learning all laws of spirituality actually will take us through this crisis without having to lose our body. Fear is the main thing that we will have to conquer, and spirituality is the only way to go beyond this fear of dying.
So what's the balance we need to take? I mean, we still have to take precautions, not that we start becoming careless and, if I'm not afraid of it and I just do what I want. But what's this balance we need to take?
So we have to balance. So we have to know at a physical level, we have to have enough knowledge of keeping the immune system powerful. That means I need to know what are the things that I have to take so that it will boost my immune system. So in my routine, I take zinc, I take vitamin D3, vitamin C, which I never used to take, but recently I've started taking all this as a physical precautions that if I want to boost my immune system, then this is necessary. And on a spiritual level, then I see that I am in such a positive state that I am totally conscious that I am an immortal being, so death cannot come to me. So that gives me a fearless stage. So which means that I'm not interfering with the body's immune system becoming weak. Of course, then you take all the precautions that is being suggested to us, then you can be safe.
There's a question here. What if you have been or become so peaceful that you keep attracting individuals who end up wanting to take from you more and use more than you are able to give them? What steps can I take to protect myself?
So, first of all, I must understand that I am not giving. I'm only allowing. So whenever anyone wants something from me, it is not that I am giving, but a supreme power above me is using me to give that energy to them. So I am only an instrument, and I am not giving what I have, but I am like a river. A river is all the time flowing, never worrying whether it should stop flowing so that otherwise the upstream will become dry. So in the same way, once I have become spiritual and learn how to make this connection with God, then anyone can receive everything. And I receive also in the giving, actually, I am receiving from God, isn't it? So the more generous you are in helping to uplift others, more generous God will be with you, that you will always be full.
Mm. And then will then these individuals then stop wanting to take so much from me, or somehow to keep coming to me for help?
Yeah, so it is not that I am giving so that they continue to take from you. You are giving them the art by which they can take themselves. So just like if you give food, then you will have to give them whole life. But if you teach them a skill, and then they will become independent, isn't it? So in the same way, if I have learned how to make this link with God and take from Him, and if I teach them the same skill of being able to take from God directly, then they will be independent, and they will also be another helping hand for others, isn't it? So this is the knowledge and wisdom that we are being taught at this institution, not only to be a help to the self, but to be able to help others so that they can help themselves and be of help to someone else.
And this practice requires us to learn how to meditate.
Right.
Mm.
So meditation means linking with the Supreme. Whilst being in this body, to become aware of my own spiritual existence and to be aware of God, who is the father and mother of all souls, and to be able to make this link and draw that power. Of course, some amount of commitment of your time is required to master this skill. But once you have mastered it, then it will become natural. To keep God as my constant companion will become easy and natural.
So I'll just see if there's any other questions out there. So do you have any other, there are no questions at the moment. Do you have any other things you would like to share with us about this art? Is that something we can take away with us today, even as people, as we have, even as people who may not have learned meditation at this stage? What steps can we start to take?
So the first most important thing is to become aware is that we are not just this body of flesh and bone, but we are actually spiritual beings having a human experience, that we are tiny points of living light energy, not physical in nature, but metaphysical, beyond matter. And to understand that we are located in the center of this forehead, and it is this being that is giving life to this physical form. So always to be in that consciousness that this body is only for me to express myself through, but I am not this body. This body is a robot. It is an equipment for me to express myself, but I am that spiritual being who is seated here. I am a being filled with love, peace, happiness, and my creator is the supreme soul. And to be able to keep that connection with him so that there is always a flow of spiritual energy, of peace, love, and happiness coming through me, so that I can express my life and I can help others to make that same connection.
Just from that consciousness, I feel more connected and less fearful.
Yes.
Mm.
So crisis will not seem to be a crisis. It gives me an opportunity to be even closer to the Creator. So when I can sail through all crises, it is going to give people hope that they can also do the same, isn't it? Because we are going through the toughest time in human history. We have never seen crisis like this looming on us at the scale that it is now. And so now really we need God's connection, and He's the only one who can help us to sail through this crisis that is in front of us. So at the time when I started, the crisis was not as severe as the crisis that the world is facing now. So it is very, very urgent for everyone to learn to meditate and make this connection with God. And now the institution also has grown into a worldwide institution, and it has many, many teachers who can teach this art of making this connection with the Supreme. And this, in this COVID period, it has made it even better that you don't even have to come to the center. You have to just connect online. And in 1 week, you will master this art of not taking sorrow, but giving happiness. When the soul is filled with spiritual power, then you'll find that it will be able to not only not take sorrow, but it will be in a position to give peace, love, and happiness to others.
There are a few questions that come in. Modern life asks for multiple roles being played and multiple multitasking. So how can individuals handle racing thoughts?
Handle?
Racing thoughts, like
Yes.
so many thoughts, maybe overthinking, can't stop thinking.
So sometimes we think so much, but at the end of the day, we would have done very little. So meditation helps us to cut down the number of thoughts, but it will increase the quality of what we do. We could do more when the thoughts are less, and we do less when the thoughts are more. Without having done anything, we will be tired and exhausted, because so much of energy is wasted in wasteful thoughts. So thoughts are the most powerful energy that we have. So when I connect with God, you will find that your thoughts will only be positive and there won't be waste. So your thoughts won't be racing. It will dwell on a few thoughts, and all those thoughts will become practical reality. You will find that you would have achieved a lot more things without spending any energy, physical energy on your part.
So it's like directing our thoughts to more positive thoughts,
Yes.
distracting our mind with more positive thoughts.
Yes.
Okay. Another question: Is it compulsory to forgive someone who has given me sorrow?
So they have actually not given sorrow. I have taken the sorrow. So there is no question of even forgiving. I have to forgive myself for taking the sorrow.
Mm.
So they could not contain that waste thought that was in their mind, and they expressed it. But I am the one who took it upon myself and caused sorrow to myself, isn't it? So I should forgive myself, isn't it?
I guess that's an empowering way to think of it,
Yeah.
to take responsibility for it.
Hmm.
Mm. Another question, can meditation help heal the deep subconscious thoughts and self-sabotaging thoughts that may surface from bad memories and guilty feelings?
Yeah. So meditation helps us in the sense that whatever is the thing that is causing me sorrow from within my subconscious memory, I now begin to give it to God to be neutralized or transformed and given back as a positive energy. So that is why meditating upon God is so important at this time, because God is the only one that can resolve the crisis that humanity is facing. So it is extremely urgent if I want to sail through this difficult period to bring God into my life.
So there's a question, how do we forgive ourselves?
Mhm. So whatever mistakes I have made, so you write down whatever mistakes you have made in this lifetime. So write a letter to God saying that these are all the things that I've done and I ask for forgiveness. So God says He will give you 50% discount. The other 50%, you work it out. Just like sometimes you get summons, then the police say that if you come and pay now, you will get so much discount. So God also gives discount at this time because He sees that we have a huge burden of sin on the head. And so if we tell Him honestly that these are the actions that I've done through which I've caused sorrow to others, then it is like your load is lightened. It is like you've been given a discount. And then to clear the other 50%, God gives you the power to overcome that. So I need wisdom to know what are the weaknesses that are within me. And God gives you the power to overcome them or transform them, because whatever weaknesses that we have is the negative side of my goodness. It is like the flip side of a coin, the dark side of me. So by taking power from God, I can transform the dark side into the bright side, which is virtues. So my vices will transform into virtues.
So even to have taken, for example, forgiving myself for taking sorrow from others, not just from making mistakes, to forgive myself for having taken sorrow.
Yes.
Would that be the same method?
Yes. But if I take sorrow and store that, at some point I will give it back. So if I don't take it, this is why we have been given 2 years to listen through one, make an analysis of it. If what is said is true, so it's not all criticisms are always, some are true, that I need to make these changes in my life. So I make those changes and it becomes a very positive criticism, isn't it?
Mm.
I don't have to take it as a sorrow. If what they say is not true, then I can also let it pass. At least let me be cautious in the future that such comments do not come of me.
Mm. Okay. So I think we have come to the end of the program. It's about time that I wrap up, and I just like to thank everyone for joining us, including Mr. Jothi. Just like to announce that our next Meditation Cafe program will be on Saturday, 14th of August. Same time as today, 5 p.m. Malaysian time. More information on the topic will be sent out closer to the date. So this program today will be available on the YouTube channel, Meditation Cafe's YouTube channel. And you are welcome to share this program with others. And if you have enjoyed the program, please give it a like and leave a comment on the channel. So before we close the session, I'd just like to invite all of you to sit back and relax as we take a 5-minute guided reflection together.
The positive mind. The quality of our thoughts determines the quality of our life. And so it becomes very important to pay attention to the type of thoughts we are creating in our minds. A thought is a seed, and depending on the type of seed, so will be the flower and the fruit and even the fragrance. It's so easy to become negative that often we do not realize that we have absorbed ourselves in a negative attitude. We get stuck on what somebody said or did or should have done or didn't do. The negativity circulates in our mind over and over and over again, making us tired, heavy, even unhappy. We all want to be free of such thinking. How can I free my mind? How can I create a positive mind? First of all, let me go inside and talk to myself. Let go. It doesn't matter. Forget it. Let the past be the past. With these thoughts, we are able to stop the circulation of negativity and not hold on. If we realize that thinking and rethinking negative incidents is not the method to put them right, then we start to become free. However, we get angry. We are overcome by a sense of injustice. We are afraid. And so the train of negative thoughts and attitudes gathers speed. Let me have the determined thought to have a positive thought, because positive thoughts create good feelings and a more tolerant attitude towards people. We cannot receive a positive output from a negative input. Let me realize that by blaming and complaining, nothing and no one is going to change for the better. So what to do? Think and act more positively, with more kindness towards others and even towards myself. Let me have patience in my words and compassion in my vision. A positive mind is created when we can tolerate, when we can accommodate and merge. To tolerate is to respect and accept differences between myself and others, understanding that everyone needs their space. Everyone needs to express in their own way. To accommodate is my generosity of heart, which does not focus on what is wrong, but is able to understand what is wrong and forgive it. To merge is to dissolve everything that is of no value anymore, to let it disappear from my mind, but also from my face, and there is no trace of anything negative. When the negativities are dissolved through love and courage, the mind is given a new breath. There is contentment and lightness. And if there are problems or difficulties, I then have the strength to tell my mind, be peaceful, be calm, see and value the positive, because it is there, even if you cannot see it right away. Be peaceful, be calm, see and value the positive.
It was a pleasure hosting this session. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this program, and have a good evening.